Happy Sunday and welcome to our third breakdown of Bride by Ali Hazelwood. There she is.
Yeah.
So today we're going to be covering chapters 11 through 15. And Collette is going to start us off.
Yep. I have my notes here. Chapter 11 starts with Lowe's thoughts.
Yes,
and he says, some nights when he is walking past her door, he has to whisper to himself, keep going. I said, yes, Daddy, you ain't got to keep going. Go ahead and go in the room, boy. Anyway. So, Misery is working closely with Alex.
Poor Alex. Poor Alex.
Oh, poor Alex. He is a nutcase. I love him though. But she's working closely with Alex, which she enjoys for two reasons. She said the first reason is it's nice because now she has some type of interaction. But the second reason is he's scared of her and she finds joy.
Too much joy. Too much joy.
He's a bully.
Really, I wrote that down. I said Misery is a bully. Poor Alex.
She's a bully. So they're working together to locate Serena, and Lo checks in once a day on their progress. And she notices that he has patience, and she makes that comparison to her father. Whereas even though the progress is slow with her and Alex locating Serena, she was like, he's patient. He asks questions, and he goes about his day. He doesn't make them feel bad. Whereas her dad would have been like, "You're trash. Die. Off with their head."
So dramatic.
Close. That's how I interpreted it. So one night she's sitting on the porch and Juno comes out of the woods, butt naked. N-E-K-K-E-D, naked.
Yeah.
To talk to Misery, and she apologizes.
Yes. Look at her being mature.
She apologizes?
But she was very honest. She's like, I don't see us becoming friends like that.
Yes.
But I will do better.
Yes.
And I was like, get it. Okay, Juno. But then, a little part of me is like, is she doing this just to cover?
I don't know, because stuff I've been reading so far, I'm like, somebody's setting up somebody somewhere. I feel it. But we're going to get to that. So as they continue to converse, Juno tells her, I wrote it down because I had to write it like how I wanted it to be read. Oh, please. As they continue to converse, Juno tells her that Roscoe sent Lo away at 12 because he was so terrified of the power that he had. And when he came of age, which was 18, he was still not allowed back into the pack. So that's when Lo left and went to Europe and went to college. He started his career. He was living a good life. Being
a gentleman.
And I'm sure he succeeded because, if he fine as he is, Europeans, they love that. Okay, so he then had to come back home after, living his life and having his career because Roscoe's deranged, crazy, deranged.
Mm-hmm.
He's the type of person that'll walk into the club in some night clothes to get his girl up out there. He one of them. Just so you understand. Okay. So Misery apologizes for taking his mate's spot as collateral. Because remember, this is Misery and Juno talking. And taking the mate spot as collateral. And first, Juno was like confused. And she was like, oh, yeah, Gabby, his mate. And I'm like,
I didn't understand that. I didn't understand that.
Yeah. So there's something going on there. There's a story there. So then Juno, Juno drops a nugget saying she always hoped that Lo would never find his mate. So Misery asks her why, and she says because an alpha means always putting your pack first. It's selfish, but it's fine. So he goes to live with Cohen when he was 12. Cohen is the alpha of another pack over in California, IA. And he's just like a big brother to him. And we'll get into that.
I can't stand her.
And then so when the full moon happens, she's told by Nick, which is our lovable werewolf, that she should not leave her room by any means because they don't want to test the wolves that cannot control themselves. Because it's a full moon, everybody doesn't have the same type of restraint. That's the word, restraint. So she basically is in her room, you know, and naturally that's the night that Anna decides she wants to sneak into into her room. And so she's sad because Lo isn't there and she doesn't shift during the full moon. So she hangs out with her. And, but Lo has also been gone a few days as well. So I didn't say that, but Lo has been gone a few days as well. So she then asks her, she being Anna, asked her, when will she be able to shift? Because her friend can. And I just felt so sad for her. Poor little tank.
I know.
Misery says to her, basically trying to comfort her. She was like, I'm sure there are things that you can do that you excel at that other people do right now. And she was like, yeah, I'm a really good braider. And she thinks to herself, that's a pointless skill to have. Like, what is wrong with this woman?
Misery's hilarious to me.
She's so pragmatic. I learned that word the other day because of Liz. She's so pragmatic in the way she thinks. It's just, who cares?
Yeah. Like, okay, you could braid.
Yeah. And so she was like, can I braid your hair? She was like, hell no. So she lets her braid her hair.
I put it here, a dozen braids later, after she said absolutely effing no.
Yeah. She told her absolutely effing not. And then we wake up to her having a whole bunch of braids in her hair, and Anna's asleep.
In the closet.
So, in the closet with her. And so she has a knife under her pillow because she's still a vampire in werewolf territory, so I get it. And so her door opens. She hears footsteps and the door opens. So she was like, I can't stand these little humans because all they wanted to make you do is kill for them. They're so manipulative. Like, is that what it is? And then who comes in? Lo. Hey, baby. And so yeah, Lo comes in and I wrote down a page that I wanted to read. It's page 150 if you have the book. And it says, I'm ready to kill to defend her. This is Anna's fault. Anna is forcing me to kill. Lo crouches at the entrance of my closet, his pale green eyes furious in the semi-darkness. Did you know, my dear wife, that when I came home during a full moon and could not locate my sister, I was ready to destroy my entire pack and torture all the wearers guarding this house for their negligence? His whisper is pure ominous threat. I shrug. No. I have been looking for her. And this is my fault. Why?
I wrote that down.
I make a show of blinking at him, and he closes his eyes, clearly gathering the strength to not butcher me, and clearly only because his sister is currently on me. Like this girl.
The way she pokes at him. I love it. Love it.
So then she asks him, where has he been? And he gives her a vague answer. He was like, meetings, runs, stuff like that. But clearly he's lying because there's 4 claw marks on his forearm.
Mm-hmm.
Oh, here we go. Forearm. But she says it's not new. But there is still green blood.
Yeah, I don't know.
Anyways.
I think goblin.
So she says he has the claw marks on him, but she says the blood smells ... She doesn't finish that thought.
It smells like, girl.
What it smell like, girl. And then she asks him if he thinks that the alliance will stick, and he never answers that question. And then we go into chapter 12, Elizabeth.
Well, touching on chapter 11,
mm-hmm.
He put peanut butter in her fridge.
Yes, he did.
Like, how cute is that?
Yes, he did.
And he does let her know before they leave, before he leaves with Anna, he lets her know, hey, just so you know, we have sharper knives in the kitchen. And he tells her what. And then she's like, thanks for the tip. I thought that was funny because she's always making those little comments. So now we go into chapter 12. And it's a good one y'all. It's a good one. So it starts off with Misery watching Alex try to teach Lo how to code. Lo does not get along with this computer. He blames the machine. She's saying it's his big hands because he's not putting the password in correctly. I know some of us have been there. You know, you changed it. The new password's not working. He's just letting him know, if I were to punch this one time, it would fix it. It would fix it. And then here, him and Alex start talking about that he has to go somewhere where we have no idea because they don't say. So then she's like, okay, am I going to listen to this? Then all of a sudden, Mick shows up.
Hey, Mick.
Yeah. I don't know if it's in this chapter, but I have my suspicions about Mick. I don't know. It's just me, guys. Anyway.
This is so distrustful.
So Mick shows up and he lets them know, hey, it's dinner time. Anna cooked dinner for us and everybody's invited. Yeah. And Misery's like, oh, okay, well, enjoy your dinner. He's like, no. She requested that Miracy.
And he makes a point to say Miracy.
Yes. That Miracy comes to dinner too. So she's like, okay, fine. How is she going to say no to Anna? Anna's too cute. So Mick shows up and he told them, hey, everybody, it's time to go to dinner. Anna cooked dinner and she's requesting for everybody to go, including you, Miracy. And she's like, does she know that I don't eat? And at that point, Lo is like, well, you actually do. And then she's like, you know what? Nope. Huh?
She was going to snitch.
Yeah. She's like, you know what? Nope. Let's all go to dinner. Starts rushing everybody to dinner. When they get to the dinner, Anna is super excited that Misery's there. And she runs to her. She gives her a hug. Misery's like, hey, you know, we don't always have to hug like this. Anna hugs tighter. She gives no Fs. At this point, Misery is letting us know that she actually has not seen much of Lo lately. It's been about a week. She hasn't seen much of him, but Juno has been showing up and hanging out. She brought a game one time. They watched movies. Other people have been also stopping by. So I don't know. I'm still about Juno because it's like
no, I think it's because she saved Anna.
Yes, but we still don't know. You know, somebody
is setting up for the okie doke.
So I think Alex is my first pick, honestly.
That's not my first pick, but continue.
Anyways. So Juno has been and she's also been spending a lot of time with Alex, and of course she continues to bully him and say things that she knows is going to scare him. He's constantly thinking that she's going to eat him, or like literally there's a part, I don't remember where she says in what chapter, that he refuses to walk with his back to her.
Yeah.
So she's enjoying herself with Alex, and she's also able to connect with him on a level she's never been able to connect with anybody, you know, with the tech stuff and the hacking and all of that. And this time, Cal's daughter, they made a point to say that Misha wants to meet her because she says she wants to see a real life
leech.
So that she gets that from her dad, because we said earlier, Cal's constantly saying funny little names when it comes to Misery. And at this point, other pack members are stopping by and talking to her and spending time. So things are getting a little bit better in the house. So Anna serves them a delicious seafood dinner that consists of meatloaf and goldfish. Of course, Misery doesn't eat, but she doesn't want to hurt her feelings. So she makes a show of eating, cuts up the meatloaf, pushes it around. Anna does notice this, and she's kind of like, what is wrong with her? And Lo lets her know nicely that Misery's just not good at this. after a while, Misery's watching Lo interact with Anna, and you see him. I mean, we've all already seen him in this light, in the amazing light of him being a father figure to Anna, and he's very patient and kind, and he's joking, and she's telling him like she wants roller skates or rollerblades for her birthday, and he's acting like he doesn't know, just playing around with her. And this brings up the question, and Anna, of course, asks Misery, "When's your birthday?" And she's like, "Oh, well, we don't really do birthdays. We just count up on the vampire New Year." And then explains that they don't really do parties. They don't do
social gatherings.
Yeah, big social gatherings. If they are, it's for war strategies or business strategies or any strategies.
Yep.
So then Anna's like, "No, we have to celebrate your birthday." When Anna does ask Misery and they have the conversation about her birthday, Mick starts talking about astrology and pointing out what sign everybody is. And Misery's like, "I just find it funny seeing Mick's rugged self with perched with rimmed glasses reading Zodiac for Dummies."
Yeah.
That was a nice visual. I enjoyed it. It was funny. This is when they start talking about the strategy meetings, that they don't really do the parties or whatever. Mm-hmm. And then she teases Alex that if they do get together, it is to feed on promising computer engineers.
She is a bully.
She really is. At this point, Mick lets her know that they got a message from the blood bank that the delivery is delayed, which I find suspicious. And that's why I was like, Mick. But now I'm thinking about it. Maybe not Mick. Like, he's just getting the message, but somebody's behind that. I don't trust that. That's just weird to me. Because why can't somebody go buy some? You know what I mean?
Yeah.
I don't know. Anyway. This worries Alex. So Mick lets her know that... Yes, Mick lets her know that the blood delivery is going to be delayed, and instantly Alex gets worried. He's like, "Wait, what a minute, wait." And Anna proceeds to tease Alex by acting, not Anna, Misery proceeds to tease Alex that she's just going to have to find someone to feed on. Lo then closes his hand over Misery's, which makes her feel a little hot and sends a little shiver. And then he puts her hand in her lap and lets his hand linger there for a little bit and says, "Stop playing with your food, wife."
I love it. I'm loving the tension.
Yes. She says that it felt like a bit of an intimate moment between them. Lo lets Alex know, hey, she has a few bags left. You're good. And this is when Anna comes up with the idea to throw Misery the party.
Yeah.
And she wants a bouncy house. And Misery's like, I'm not really bouncy. And then
she says,
I'm not really bouncy. So then Mick lets Anna know, well, Lo's not going to be here. Again, where is he going? We still don't know. We still don't know at all. All this has happened. They've had a whole dinner, a whole feast, and we still don't know where Lo has to go. And Mick says, hey, you can reschedule it. And you could take Cal. And he's like, no, I'm not taking Cal with me. That's my second. And he has 2 kids. And he's like, Mick's like, oh, but it's okay for our alpha to go? He doesn't care. He does not care. Mick lets him know that no other alpha would ever accept this meeting. And this is where we start finding out that what's going on, because Anna, little Miss Amazing Princess over here, finally asks where he's going. And we find out that he's going to like Collette said, California. Go ahead, say it.
California A.
California 8. So he's going out there, and we find out he's going to meet with Emery, which that's Roscoe's mate. Roscoe was the previous alpha that Lowe beat, took over the unalives. Lowe tries to make him feel better. At this meeting, Cohen's going to be there. And we learn that it is customary for the mate of the previous alpha to invite the new alpha over. So this isn't out of the norm. Right. Everybody's just scared because what they want to happen is Lowe wants to go over there and get evidence because they don't really have solid evidence that Emery is behind all of this. They have some, but it's not solid. Like, they can't go after. And then Mick's like, well, you have the strength to take over. And he's like, but that's not how I want to do this. Mm-hmm. Then Mick continues, you really should take someone who's tech savvy. Misery, this whole time, is just sitting there listening to everything. And everything finally falls into place for her. She's like, wait a minute. He has to go to California. He's going to go to Emery's property. Yeah. He needs to plant stuff. And he knows nothing of technology. Cannot even log into an account without wanting to smash a computer. So what is he doing? He needs somebody. Yeah. Mick, she then agrees with Mick. And Lowe is like, hold up. You're not about to do this. You're not going to agree. And Mick then again reminds him, hey, remember, Emery's behind this. He touches on the proof. Lowe's not backing down. He believes that going to this property is how he's going to get the evidence. Mick then says, or get, So Lowe says to Mick, you don't think I got this? Mick says, just because you don't know your limits does not mean you don't have them.
Nah, he said, just because we haven't found your limits
doesn't mean you don't have it. Lowe then says, doesn't mean I have one. At this time, Anna has crawled into Misery's lap and is sitting in Misery's lap. Misery's like, I don't know if there's a sign that says, please sit in my lap, but I need to fix it because she's not about this life. Misery doesn't care. Throughout the conversation, she's sitting there. Eventually, she's ready to go with Lowe. She climbs up Misery and reaches out for Lowe, but Lowe's not paying attention because he's having a death stare contest with Mick because they're still not agreeing with this whole California trip. When Anna fails to get his attention, Misery taps his arm, and he turns around and gives her a wide-eyed, disturbed look. Now, first of all, if I got that look, I would probably go in my room and cry. Misery is over here like, oh, he's looking at me like that because I smell. Still, with the smell, bro, I don't even know. She said, I don't know why he's like that when he's more skunk adjacent than I am.
She's so
dumb, bro. I can't.
Oh my God. Ali Hazelwood, girl, you be writing the stuff like, girl, what?
Yes. Mick breaks the staring contest and says that he thinks this is all a trap. Lowe ends the conversation. He's done. It's happening. He made the final decision. He's going to California by himself with his non-techie self to install spyware and all that other good stuff when he can't even log into an account. I'm sorry, I can't let that go. He ends the conversation and starts talking about the party and all that stuff. They stay hanging out. It's a nice feeling. Misery says everybody just stays talking. When they go to end, he's like, hey, Make sure you guys get the bouncy house and send me pictures of Misery bouncing. Am I missing anything?
No.
Yeah. She does, during that time, she does sit there and think about um Gabby and how Gabby or Gabrielle was like a part of all of this.
And what she would be doing in the vampire territory because they don't socialize.
They don't at all. And I feel so bad for Misery because she's constantly like wondering, like,
yeah,
you know, is Gabby okay?
She's actually pretty selfless, but she doesn't think she's selfless.
No, because she's a vampire, and they, you know what I mean. But she wasn't raised vampire, so
right?
She has those things,
those human interactions. Even though she doesn't think she absorbed them, she really absorbed them. So.
Yeah.
All right, so let's go into chapter 13. All right, so chapter 13, we start with Misery. She is climbing onto the roof because you remember I taught her she can climb onto the roof. And she discovers that Lo is up there, and she watches him as he stares pensively onto the water, looking fine. That's how I imagine it in my head. And just before she's going to leave to give him his solitude, because she says when she's looking at him, you know, this is what she imagines he looks like as himself, not the alpha, not the big brother, not a caretaker, just
Lo.
Right. So she's going to leave to give him his solitude, and the wind blows in his direction, carries her scent, alerts him that she's there, which lets me know that she's pretty self, because I'm pretty sure he should have been able to pick up on that. So
maybe he was so lost in his thoughts that, you know what I mean? Maybe.
And so he turns around and he sees her, and she offers to leave so that he can, you know, have alone time to himself. He's like, nah, girl, you gotta go.
Pull on up.
You know what I'm saying? And she's like, if you stand right here, I'm sure my scent won't blow past you so that you don't have to inhale. And he's like, okay, cool. You know, he sits down and they sit down together. What else did I say? Oh, and then she does her word vomit thing, and I wrote down this passage. Because you know,
sometimes she don't know how to
react. So when she gets nervous, she just starts spewing stuff. Like, girl, you are the worst. Like, you would crack under pressure. Please don't nobody catch her. Ever. So it says, so I clap my hands. The cicadas quiet, then resume their singing after a disoriented pause. Tell me if I got it right. You'll use your meeting with Emery as an excuse to plant some spyware or interceptor that will allow you to monitor her communications and gain proof that she's leading the loyals. But you're going into enemy territory alone and have the computer skills of an octogenarian Luddite, which puts you at a great risk. Actually, no need to tell me if I'm all right. I already know. When you're plunging into your imminent death, tomorrow or Friday. And he studies her like he's not sure whether I'm a bench or a postmodern sculpture. A muscle twitches in his jaw. I truly don't get it, he muses. She says, get what? He says, how you manage to stay alive despite your reckless outbursts.
Seriously, though.
And she says, I must be very smart. And he said, or incredibly stupid. And he's like, our eyes clash for a few seconds, full of something that feels more confusing than antagonism. I glance away first. Yeah, girl, that's called the feels. That's the feels right there. That's when we get our first confirm sparks. Because, you know, the both of them, they just in their head a lot. They both in their head. So she offers to go with him, and he tells her no because he feels like he won't be able to protect her the way he would need to. And they continue to go back and forth about it. And she was like, you know what? Don't worry about it. I'm gonna let it go. In her mind, she's like, for now.
Yeah.
And because she just has to let him know he's technologically inept. Like she made a point to say, you go into Google and type in Google to search. Let me tell you why that was insulting and funny at the same time. I go on Google and type in Google before I search. Well, we all know, Liz, you know me. I am not good with technology. If I didn't have to work with computers, I wouldn't use it. All right. So they proceed to have a normal conversation. And then she asks him about schooling overseas, and he tells her that they actually intermingle there. Like he was like, you know, he went to college and it was werewolves, humans, and a few vampires that went to school. And, you know, she was like, I'd heard about it, but I didn't know that was like a real thing. She also learns that Lo knew that he was stronger than Roscoe, but was grateful that he sent him away. Because he actually had the time to grow up a little bit and have a little bit of a normal life before having to take over as Alpha. He already knew he was going to be Alpha. Like, there was no fighting it. But if you knew at 12, all right, Goliath. So then when his mother called him, he had to drop everything and he came straight home. Like, he literally got the phone call. He left his job. He didn't go to his apartment. He got on a flight, went home, challenged Roscoe, took over the pack. He said it was 11 hours and 40 minutes since he received that call to when he got there.
Crazy.
And I was
crazy.
Like, golly. She asked if Cal is the second most dominant because Cal is his second. I follow her train of thought.
Yeah, no. That makes sense to me too.
And he was like, he explains there's no strict hierarchy in the pack. He was like, Cal is the second simply because he trusts him. So you get the position not because you're almost as matching strength, but because you're trusted. So he wants to have loyal people around him, which obviously makes sense. And then she tells him that Mick is her favorite, and he responds because he's partial to a beautiful woman. Hold, please. Let me go ahead and pull up my notes of him spitting game. Mm-hmm. And she's so oblivious too. But
yeah.
So she says, well, he's my favorite wear. I hug my knees. He's always so nice to me. That's because he has a weakness for beautiful women. She says, what does that have to do with me? He says, you know what you look like. Mm-hmm. I laugh softly, surprised by the backhanded compliment. Why do you always do that? He asked. Do what? When you laugh, you cover your lips with your hand or you do it with your mouth closed. I shrugged. I wasn't aware, but I'm not surprised. Isn't it obvious? It's not, judging by his puzzled look. Okay, I'm going to be super vulnerable with you. I take a deep breath, theatrical breath. Steep on my hands. You may not know this about me, but I'm not like you. I'm actually another species called misery. His hand comes up to snatch my wrist. My breath catches in my throat. Why do you hide your fangs? You're the one who told me to. He says, I asked you not to respond to an act of aggression with another act of aggression to avoid coming home and finding my wife torn to pieces and someone torn in even smaller pieces next to her. His hand is still around my wrist, warm, a bit tighter. His touch flusters me. Flusters me. This is different. Yeah, girl, he liked your fangs, girl. Mm-hmm. He said them fangs, they could bite me.
Like, she must not know that when the pupils dilate, you know?
She then shows him her fangs, you know, because that's their foreplay, because they're werewolves and vampires. They don't just flirt like normal people. And then tells him since he isn't scared, she'll go to Emery's with him. And then she tries to get up and leave and say, I'll go pack a bag. He was like, no, sit down. Nice try. Like, no. And then she tells him before Serena went missing, they got into a fight. And it's in a loop in her mind. And this is big for her because she was like, can I tell you a secret? And he was like, you want to tell me a secret? And she was like, yeah, but I'm being vulnerable with you. And she says that her and Serena basically got into a fight because Serena got a recruiter to recruit. I keep wanting to say Emery. That's not her name. Wanted to recruit Misery for a job because remember, Misery's a hacker. She's really good at it. Like one of the best. And so Serena got a recruiter to recruit her for a job away from where she was, pays way more money, and she didn't want it because she was like, for what? What am I taking it for? It's a waste of time. Mm-hmm. Like, she's just very, I think she tries to hold on to her vampire-ness, even though she hasn't lived with them for so long. Like, she doesn't know how to enjoy life. And that's what Serena tells her. She's like, you are a husk of a person. Like, you don't want to do anything. You can't just have me as the sole reason for your happiness. You have to have more. And so that was the last argument that they had, last conversation that they had before Serena went missing. So that bothers her. And so she's like, this is why I want to come with you to go to Emory, because she was like, not only are you going there to help your pack, but also I care about Anna. Mm-hmm. So I want to make sure that she's good too. And she was like, and I know how to fight. And he's like, hi. And so she then asked him to explain precisely what is a mate. Okay. And he tells her it's someone that's meant for you. You know, like Shabu and Savvy. And she wants to know what the difference is between a mate and a high schooler signing a yearbook. I can't stand her. Can't stand her. So I wrote it down. I underlined it. And he says, a mate is the cicada's quiet. We can only hear the waves gently lapping into the night. Who you are meant for. Who is meant for you. And this is uniquely aware experience that differs from human. And this is a uniquely aware experience that differs from human high schoolers writing lyrics on each other's yearbooks before heading to separate colleges. How? And she says, I might be culturally offensive, but his shrug is good-natured. I've never been a human high schooler, and the experience of it might be similar. The biology, of course, is another matter. And she says, the biology? And he says, yeah, there are physiological changes involved with meeting one's mate. He's choosing his words with circumspection, hiding something maybe. Love at first sight? And he shakes his head, and even as he says, in a way, maybe, but it's a multi-sensory experience. I've never heard of someone recognizing their mate just by sight. He wets his lips. Scent is a big part of it. Let me read that again for you, for the people in the back. Scent is a big part of it, and touch, but there's more. It triggers changes inside the brain, chemical ones. Science articles have been written about it, but I doubt I'd understand them. Like when y'all got married and he said, why you smell like that? Just, you know. I mean, I don't know nothing, but.
So at this point, do you think that maybe Gabby felt like he was her mate, but not the other way around?
I didn't think of that.
Like there has to be a reason that they're saying that.
I didn't think of that. You may be onto something, Elizabeth. Because he does say that it's not always reciprocated. Mm-hmm. He lets her know, having a mate is Let's try that again. Having a mate is rare. And she asked if that's how he felt meeting his mate. Pay attention, y'all. She specifically asked him if that's how he felt meeting his mate.
Yeah, Gabby. Not Gabby.
Right, she didn't say Gabby. She said his mate. So he knows he has a mate. Yes. Okay? Because he says, he takes a while and he responds and he says yes. Okay? She apologizes from separating from his mate because she thinks it's Gabby. She's so dumb, but I love her. Let's go. And she asks if there is biting involved, and he tells her yes while looking longingly at her neck. That neck looking real nice for him. And she says, it sounds painful. He says, it isn't if done right. If that ain't foreplay, I don't know what is. And then she asks if mating feelings are reciprocated. And he says, no. Let me take you to another passage in the book. Page 180, if you will turn my people in the church with me. Did you highlight your book?
No.
Oh.
I just took the dust cover off.
Oh.
No, girl. No.
You know, Liz doesn't mark her books. That's blasphemous to her. So she says, I'm no romantic, but the prospect is appalling. Let's try that again. The idea that one might be destined to someone who just won't, can't, doesn't. All the feelings in the world, but one-sided, uncomprehended and unbound. A bridge built of chemistry and physics that stops halfway, never to pick up again. And she says, it sounds fucking horrible. And he nods thoughtfully. Does it? And she says, yeah, it's a life sentence. No parole, just you and a cellmate who'll never know you exist. And he says, maybe. Maybe there is something devastating about the incompleteness of it, but maybe just knowing that the other person is there might be pleasure in that, right? She said there might be pleasure in that, the satisfaction of knowing that something beautiful exists. Maybe some things transcend reciprocity. Maybe not everything is about having. Come on, God. Talk to me now. Well, you out here being a poet. I don't even like poetry.
He's so cute.
Okay. And this is where I'm certain. I put this in my notes. This is where I'm certain that he knows that she is his mate.
Yep, me too.
Even though I detected it at the wedding when he was like, "Why you so dead?" I'm like,
it wasn't hidden.
This is certain where I know he knows. All right, she's my mate. I already know that.
Yeah, I agree with you.
And she explains to him that she may not be able to relate because vampires don't talk about feelings, and she's not able to articulate hers. But she would like to join him on the trip again, like she said, to help out with Anna, and she says maybe it'll make Serena proud because it was something that she told her to do. Stop doing things just for her. You can do things for others. You can do things for yourself. And he tells her, if she goes with him, she'll have to be marked. Dun, dun, dun. And we're going to chapter 14. Go ahead, Liz. Take it away.
Chapter 14 starts off, how they all have a little low in the beginning? It says, she tastes the way she smells.
Come on, God. The angst. Ellie, you did that with the angst. The angst,
okay.
The buildup.
So they're getting ready to go to California. She's expecting a road trip and all that. What she wasn't expecting was a Cessna. And her response to that was, honey, are we rich? Lo doesn't miss a thing because he turns around and says, we're just banned from most human-owned airlines, darling. She's like, oh, that's right. So she's never really been on a plane. Mick, Cal, and Kendall Ludwig, which is another one of his people, aren't too keen on him taking Misery with him. But everybody's right now high-strung because this is something that nobody but Lo and now Misery is really on board to do.
Yep.
She says that they probably had some screaming matches, but she was knocked out because it was daytime and that's when she sleeps.
Yeah.
Alex tells her, if someone tries to kill Lo, it is your duty to protect your alpha. She's like, hold up. I'm not full body diving between him and a silver bullet. And she finds out that
she's such a jerk.
She's watched too many movies, bro. Alex lets her know, like, just a regular bullet will do. And you married into the pack, and you're the alpha's wife. So yeah, you need to defend him.
Also, I have to say real quick, I love that he takes the time to explain because I don't feel like anyone else explains things to her. Alex is like, no, you got to do this because of this.
The politics of it.
Yeah.
She doesn't know. She barely knows the vampire politics, barely knows human politics.
Yeah.
Nobody's ever really sat down and explained these things to her. Because during the time that she would learn all that stuff, she was
in the human world.
Yeah, she was in the human world. So, and I find Alex is funny because at one point he's scared for his life when it comes to misery, and at another point he's just so annoyed that he does have to, like, he's just like, bro. And then he's also really impressed by her because she
Yeah.
is really good at hacking and all of that.
Yeah.
So he has, like, lots of sides of misery that he has to deal with. He held up a GSM interceptor, which I'm thinking this, like, stops things from tracking them or whatever. Anyways, she was impressed by it. I don't know what it is.
You said she was impressed by it. Let me go on my Google and search Google.
Yeah, she said nifty.
GSM interceptor. Oh, that's a real thing.
Oh.
A GSM interceptor system works by breaking the GSM encryption algorithm during real-time communications that secure cellular phones on a GSM cellular service network. Oh, duh. Kind of like AT&T. They
Like
don't
a
use
scrambler?
Chip. No. So with like AT&T, they don't use chip.
Mm-hmm.
So you know how if you, for instance, if you go from, I'm just using an example, if you go from like Cricket to Verizon, you need your chip out of your phone.
Yeah, the SIM card.
Yeah. AT&T don't do that. They have GSM phones. You can unlock it and do what you want to do. So that's essentially what that is. And the only reason I know that is because when I go to Jamaica, that's the biggest thing. If you have a GSM phone, they steal in that because they can unlock it and use it. There's no way to track it or do anything.
Yeah, but like my phone has the option for a SIM card. Anyways, doesn't matter. Alex is actually not one of the people that sees them off to California, but there's a lot of other people, including the cat that they've named Sparkles, because he is now a valued family member who really loves watching planes go. Anna does ask them to steal the L from the Hollywood sign for Liliana. They go to leave.
Wait, you didn't say it, Liz. I thought you were going to put that in there. She says, "You're going to steal the L for Liliana. It's my name." And Missouri was like, because clearly she doesn't think I know my alphabet.
I love their relationship. So when they go to take off, she's like, well, is the pilot aware? And then Lowe's fine behind jumps into the cockpit. And she's like, oh, so then she goes and gets into the co-pilot seat. She's never been in a plane, so she has her nose plastered to the window while she's staring out into the night sky. So much so that when they land, she is completely stiff from staring out the window the whole time. Also, when she found out that he was a pilot, she's like, for fuck's sake, like, this guy is good at everything he does. But she didn't want to say anything to him because she realized that he wanted her to say something so that he can show off. So they're on that level.
Yeah.
Then he tells her that when they land, he's going to have to mark her because that's what's going to keep her safe from them coming after her. Him marking her.
Look at my face. Yeah, go ahead.
Him marking her basically marks her as someone important to him, and she's off limits to the other wares.
Because she carries his scent. Go ahead, let's break it down.
So,
are you blushing? We need a disclaimer at the beginning of this video real quick. You're going to edit this part out. We need a disclaimer like, hey.
It's not that bad. It's pretty PG. It's pretty PG-13. But
no, but we need a disclaimer just so if people are watching, they're just like, hey, y'all, this is where we're getting into some spicy stuff in case you don't want to. or you can't manage.
Yeah.
But go ahead.
Okay, so he tries to call her attention and she's like, what? And he says nothing because he's staring at her. Because when she takes herself off the glass, she stretches and he's staring at her because, hard eyes. So cute. And she's like, what? When she notices him staring. And he's like, nothing. And she said, you said when we land. And he's like, yeah. She's like, you realize that's not a sentence, right? Just a temporal subordinate clause. His eyes lift. You're a linguist now? These two with the banter. Amazing. I love it. He starts explaining, like, I'm going to have to mark you. And he starts telling her what he needs to do. They start having a conversation about the marking, and then she's like, oh, well, do I need to know about architecture? Like, do I need to know between Gothic and Art Deco? And he's like, you're kidding, right? You do know the difference. So she's poking fun at him. Again, she's a bully.
Yes.
She's a bully. Anybody she could bully, she's there. And he explains to her that the marks, it's all about the scent. Basically, when he marks her, she's going to smell like him.
Mm-hmm. Go ahead, Elizabeth.
Your moment. He tells her, well, we're going to be smelling the same. So she's not thinking anything about his smell. She's like, okay, so you're going to be smelling like dog breath. Because remember, till this day, till this moment in time, regardless of anything this man has said or done, she still believes that he hates her smell.
If Oblivious was a person.
She continues. She's like, that's fine. I'll smell like you. Fine. Whatever. Do whatever you want with my body. She is just...
The thing she's saying, he's looking like, girl.
He's like,
down.
Misery. And she's like, my body, the temperature's different. Like, all these bad things about herself that she thinks about herself, she's like letting him know. And he's like, misery. She's like, seriously, I don't care. Do whatever.
Mm-hmm. Mm-hmm.
And she's like, if they attack us, he's letting her know they won't. But if they do, I can help. He's basically like, shut up. We don't have much time. I need to mark you.
Mm-hmm.
And he's like, I need you to give me permission. And he starts the process of trying to get her to get permission. He starts going up. It's just, yeah. So he starts sniffing and licking, and he's like, I just need you to give me the okay. It's pretty spicy. You're going to have to read it. It's really good. Not spicy. It's not super spicy. Let me not say it like that. It's very well written.
Yeah.
It's like half a chili pepper, but the way that it's written, it gives you all the feels because it's just so, it's very, get it, Ali. Get it. You're the bomb. Okay.
Because she knows how to write really good tension.
So he tells her that he has to lick her, and her response is like a wet willy. And he keeps asking her for permission. May I touch you? And he's telling her like where he's gonna, lick, where he's gonna touch and all that. And she's like, thank you for the anatomy lesson.
Right.
So he's going over everything and letting her know, I have to lick here, I have to touch here, I have to bite here. And she puts it together that everywhere that he's saying is where she had marked in green during the wedding. He's letting her know that normally for other wears, they would do it where the sweat glands are, but she doesn't have any. So he goes where she has her pulses because the heat will augment the scent, which she understands all of that when it comes to the blood. They're getting closer together, and this is when he's starting to smell her and all of this stuff while continuing to ask for permission, which she has not given because she is all in her head.
Yeah.
And she's just like, just do it. Is this as weird as it for you as it is for me and all of this stuff. she says something about her smell, and he finally admits to her that he loves her smell.
Yes, he does.
Her response to that, you guys want to hear her response to that? So the baths did work. At that point is when he was like, fuck it, I'm going to lick her. That's it. And then she's like, oh, as are we. As are we.
Yes.
At this point, they have something that's it's something very intimate for both of them. Misery's never been in this type of position with someone. So to have Lo so close to her, smelling her, licking her, it's new to her and it's amazing to her. He is also like very into it. He growls, everything. Finally marks her. And she's just like, wow, like she's about to tell him that I think she was going to say like, that was amazing or something like that, but it's cut off. And he lets her know that he keeps apologizing to her because he felt like he took it too far. Because he, in his own way, he did lose a little bit of control. Like, he did not expect to react to her the way that he did. So he's like, I'm sorry. And she's like, wow. She's more like, she enjoyed it.
She's like, let's do it again.
Worried that he overstepped. So they're still not on the same page.
Right.
Regardless of the mark.
It's a lot.
He finally settled down. Mm-hmm. And she's like, is the smell better? And he's like, it's mine. The smell is mine. You smell like you're mine. And she doesn't let that like slip. She's like, he said that I smell. Oh, that's in the next chapter. He says mine. It's a rumble in his throat. You smell like you're mine, Misery. Something charged shimmers through my body. It is, after all, exactly what we were going for. And that is the end of chapter 14. Did I miss anything?
No.
Anything you touch on?
No, that was perfect. And then we go into chapter 15, y'all. Chapter 15. So they come off the plane. We meet Emery. Mm-hmm. We meet Emery, and Misery thinks she's nice, which makes her terrifying. There's like a tenseness. I don't know if tenseness is a word, but we're going to go with it. There's like a tenseness, even though she has 8 guards, but they're clearly worried that Lo might take them all out. 8 guards.
But they should be.
Plus Emery, that's 9 total people. And they're worried that Lo will take them all out. Just so we're understanding. That's how powerful he is. So, obviously he's still a threat. So they go through the formalities on the tarmac. Emery glances down and sees that Lo is holding her hand. And he doesn't let go of the hand even when they go to the car. So he thanks her for not starting crap with Emery, because Emery threw a little dig at her. I don't remember what she said, but she threw a little dig at her or whatever. And she's like, I would never. And he looks at her and she was like, I'd never start a war. I might say some shit though. And he was like, there's shit.
Yeah.
That's you. Okay. And so they then go to dinner because they're now back at the compound, the house. I don't know what you want to call it.
Yeah, I don't know.
So they go to dinner, and then from the dinner, they're escorted to their room where she scans for bugs or any type of emitters or anything like that. And there's nothing there. And he's watching her like, girl, you paranoid. And so she was like, because of the smirk on his face, she knows that he's looking at her like you're super paranoid. So she was like, I want to take this lint out my pocket and be like, look, it's a tracker. Just to prove him wrong.
He wouldn't even know.
She said he wouldn't know. So she offers to drink her blood bag in the bathroom because, he asked her if she's hungry, obviously, because they had dinner, but she hadn't eaten yet. And he was like, I don't care. Drink your blood wherever. She's like, well, Since you don't care, I don't care. I'm going to make light work. And she just slurps through it. Takes her all of 2 minutes to drink her blood. You really are his mate, girl, because I would have threw up. After she feeds, he tells her that she looks different, and then she explains when vampires are hot, they get blood hungry. And then after they feed, they get hot. It's a conundrum. Just saying. So, she's like, I guess she has a glow about her after she feeds. And he looking like, hey, baby, but she don't. None of that. So and then she wants to discuss what happened on the plane because it was sexually charged. They had their moment, And so he explains to her, he tells her it's usually sexually charged whenever you mark someone, and he apologizes again for taking advantage, as he says. He didn't take advantage because she wanted that thing. She just didn't say. She apologizes too, even though she enjoyed it. And then he tells her that he'd never done it before and didn't know it would be like that.
Exactly.
Right?
Yeah.
So she's befuddled.
Befuddled.
That's what I wrote, befuddled. She's befuddled because he has a mate. And she thinks that he said it was reciprocated. And he was like, did I say that? She's like, you didn't say it was reciprocated. An educated fool, y'all. I'm telling you. She is oblivious. And so she asks if she knows. She asks him, like, does your mate know? And he says no. So they talking about two different people. Because she talking about Gabby and he talking about her. But he's aware of the conversation. She is not.
Yep.
And he said he would never tell her. And she asked why. And he says he wouldn't want to burden her.
Always thinking about everybody else.
I know. And she says, what did I write? Oh, that's what I was saying, that she's talking about Gabby, he's talking about her, and so her oblivious ass, that's what I wrote. Her oblivious ass is just confused. She's like, why wouldn't you want to burden her? So she continues to hound him about it, like she's like, well, I think you're a great catch, and you would be good together, and I'm pretty sure she would like it. Who doesn't want somebody fawning over them? And da-da-da-da-da-da. And he snaps. He's like, girl. So let's go to page 201. Again, he be giving these epic speeches, and she's so slow. She don't realize it's about her. It's infuriating, but I love it. Let's continue. He says, you think the reason I won't tell her is that a small part of her wouldn't be enough? You think that I would care if she were to love me less than I love her? That it's a matter of pride for me, of greed? Is that what you think? I'm childish? I open my mouth. A wave of heat, embarrassment, confusion. Something else slams over my body. He cuts her off. You think, but you don't know. You don't know anything about what it's like to find your other half. I would take anything she chose to give me, the tiniest fraction of her entire world. I would take her for a single night, knowing that I'll lose her by morning, and I would hold her and never let her go. I would take her healthy or sick or tired or angry or strong, and it would be my fucking privilege. I would take her problems, her gifts, her moods, her passions, her jokes, her body. I would take every last thing she chose to give me. But I won't take from her. Come on, God. His eyes leave mine and steadily trail down my face. They stop at the necklace of my dress. Tonight, I'm wearing our wooden band as a necklace, and he studies the way it disappears into the curve of my breast. His gaze lingers leisurely for what feels like hours, but it's probably a brief moment. Then it moves back up. Above all, I won't take her freedom, not when so many others have already done so. She wouldn't admit it. He's still continuing. She wouldn't admit it. She might not even realize it herself, but she's the kind of person who would feel beholden to me. She would think I need her, when what I really need is for her to be happy, whether it's with me or alone or with someone else. At this point, I just want her to stop. Me personally, and maybe this is wrong of me to say, I'm just throwing myself in there. If I was a vampire and nobody liked me and I was oblivious to his feelings, I'd be like, F Gabby, take me. Like, what are you saying? Like, you over here talking, spitting all them bars. So she apologizes and he's like, I forgive you. He's a little mind you, they're on the bed this whole time. He's laying down. And she's just like, hey, daddy, you know.
Is that what she said?
Yeah, that's what she said. She's like, hey, daddy. And then this is like literally after he says all of that, this is where she's like literally looking at him and she's studying him because he has his hand over his, like he's laying down, but he has his hand over his eyes. So he's not seeing her, but she's seriously studying him. And she's thinking, dang, he is fine. This is the first time we get acknowledgement from her that she thinks he's fine. Anyways. And then she says that she might be feeling something for him. But that's where she goes. She was just like, it might be something. But she doesn't let the thought carry on. And then she tells him what she used to do to help Serena with her insomnia because she was like, you know, are we going to go to bed now? Do you want me to go in the closet? She's such a weirdo. She's the most awkward person on the planet. She's like, you know, I used to help Serena. Serena had insomnia. And he was like, how would you help her with insomnia? So she goes and she massages his head. And he falls asleep. Because that's his boo. And he feels comfortable, you know. And you know, Collette loves this. So she massages his scalp. He enjoys it. He falls asleep. And then she tells him, before he falls asleep. I'm sorry, you guys. Backtrack. He's massaging she is massaging his scalp. And before he falls asleep, she tells him he's not such a terrible husband as he could be. And sorry that he had to give up his life for his pack. And he smiles, which I feel like would be a charming smile. That's when he would have got it. But, you know, it's not about me. And then he smiles and he says to her that she did the same thing. And then she disagrees. And he says, because, you know, he be spitting them game, girl. I be having to read what he say. He says, if Serena hadn't disappeared, would you have been able to say no to your father? Or would you have ended up in this marriage anyway? I think about it for a long, long time, watching my fingers trace patterns in Lo's hair. And when I think I have an answer, a frustrating, depressing answer, I don't say it out loud. Because Lo, who suffers from something that's definitely not pneumonia, is breathing softly and has sunk into a tranquil sleep. And that is the end of chapter 15.
So good.
So good.
So good.
Girl.
I'm really enjoying this book.
Yes. Yes. It's so good.
Mm-hmm.
Ali, you did this, girl. You doing it, girl. But yeah, it's they're getting there. I want her to catch up, but at the same time, I like that she knows how to write a good tension-filled book. Even though you're upset with her, you understand her. So It's not annoying, you know? It's just frustrating because you want them to get there quicker, but it's not annoying.
Yep.
But yeah, really good book. Really, really, really good. Let us know in the comments below. Are you following along with us? Are you enjoying it? What do you think is going to happen? You think they're going to do it? I think they're going to do it.
Oh my God.
Just saying.
I'm really enjoying it. I love Misery. I love her relationship with Anna. I have my suspicions, everyone, but it's fine. It's fine.
What do you have your suspicions about?
Mick, Juno, Cal, Alex, everyone.
I'm not not suspicious about Alex. I feel like Alex is the only good one. Now, if he turns out bad, everybody know I'm not a detective, so I don't really care if I was wrong. However, Nick, I feel like because he was so nice to her from the jump, that might be a misdirect.
Remember that his spouse and child.
Yeah, and child. Yeah. And I think that's a misdirect. He's acting nice, but really he want to take her out. That's what I think.
Yeah, I don't know. I think he might be a lollipop. I don't know.
You're a lollipop girl.
I don't know, because he was friends with him and his partner were friends with Lo's mom.
Yeah.
So I don't know.
Yeah.
We see.
But I think loyalty is always, your loyalties can always shift.
Yeah.
And because he was away, even though he was friends with the mother, Lo was away.
Yeah.
Well, we'll see, you guys. But comment below if you're reading along with us. What are your thoughts? Do you have any theories? Because Liz lives for that.
Yes, I do.
But as always, you guys, we appreciate you watching, following along with us. Like, share, subscribe. Follow us on Instagram, Facebook, TikTok. I'm getting it.
Yes. Get it.
We will see you next Sunday. Bye.
Bye.